to Bourbon Barrel Talk. I'm your host, Scott Minton. Today we are doing the 12 Days of OFO, and today is day 4, and we are talking with Josh and Tyler again, and we are going to cover, what are we covering today, Josh? You got
on the
list.
4th day of Old Foe, Whiskey Row Series gave to me an Old Forester 1870 original batch at 90 proof. And Scott, I must say this is one of my favorites of Whiskey Row. Even though it didn't start out as my favorite, it evolved into my favorite. And I think you guys know I'm a low proof lover, and the 90 proof on this kind of just hit my sweet spot, as some of those original batches do. But let's take a sip. Let's talk about it. And Tyler, you want to start us off?
Sure. Like you said, this is one that kind of flies under the radar, I guess you would say, but it is. Along with the 86, it is a great intro, especially into the Whiskey Row series, being that it's 90 proof. So it's a little softer, more approachable. It's got kind of a fruity floral tone to it. It's not nearly as aggressive. It's very playful, fun, has a great attitude to it. To me, I always get this kind of fun mix of soft, sweet grains combined with a little bit of clove, and then this really fun bubble gum kind of thing going on, especially if you move your nose around. It gets nice and fruity, and almost like that powdered sugar stuff that used to come on Big League Chew, the powdery stuff you find on bubble gum, something like that.
See, I'm getting almost like a juicy fruit.
Yeah, juicy fruit, absolutely.
Yeah, like Wrigley's juicy fruit.
That's really interesting because I haven't had a Big League Chew pouch for about 30 years.
Really?
Yeah, man. No.
But
Is
I don't
it
think
still
I
out
have
there?
either.
Even the kiddo doesn't do the Big League Chew?
She's got a gumball machine coming for Christmas this year, but I don't think she's ever gone into the Big League Chew.
So my kids they both loved the old Big League Chew. But they were great Big League Chew people.
I guess I lied, because we had a Master Taster series that Jackie found that was great Big League Chew was her tasting notes, and she literally had packets of great bubble gum that we were tasting along with this Master Taster. So
That's interesting.
guess that's the last time I had
How do I
Big
get
League Chew.
invited to one of these sessions? Just where I can just try stuff and just listen to you all talk about it.
I don't get invited to them either. It's just when I happen to walk in.
God, Scott, way to make him feel that way. Come on,
Right.
man.
I know, sorry.
Well, so I'm getting you get a nose here of a bunch of fruits, and I don't know that I would ever be able to lock that down to what kind of fruit it is. Maybe a citrus of some sorts. It is sweet, and I don't know if I'm getting some honey smell in it, but it's a really just up front. It's smooth on the palate. It's pleasing to your tongue, and there is no burn to this. With a 90 proof at the end, it just finishes very nicely.
Now, see, it finishes great, but to me, this is, for a 90 proof, it actually has more bite on the front side than I typically get with an Old Forester 90 proof.
Well, okay, so I used to be all 90 proof, and you guys have gotten me hitting the hot stuff, so probably me coming back to this one saying it's a smooth 90 proof. It's all the burn that I'm now used to is coming out of the 130 proof barrel select or single barrel kind of things, but I really like this one, and I have a feeling that, now that the 90 proof is really mostly off the market, this may have to become one of my go-to just regular everyday sipping whiskeys. And I get a lot of similarities to this, probably just from the proof to the single barrel.
I added a little bit of water to mine. I'm going to see what it does to it. I've actually never added water to this before, but I figure if we're doing a tasting and we're talking about it, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to go crazy.
So, Tyler, when I know I've been on a distillery tour, but it's been at least 10 months at this point, how do you all do a Whiskey Row series tasting as a part of the distillery tour?
We do. It's and it will likely be more of an option going forward. Used to be part of our VIP tours. You would do a Whiskey Row tasting. Once we reopen, I think that's going to be kind of standard, is to kind of share our story via the Whiskey Row series. But it does. It tells a great story. It tells the story not only of our history, but kind of the history of the bourbon industry as well, in a way. So, and how we've kind of been there throughout that whole history. So it's a fun little tie-in. 1870, of course, is our founding year, the year Old Forester was started. And this is called Original Batch, being that George started by batching Old Forester from 3 existing distilleries, Melwood, Mattingly, and Atherton. He batched those together, blended them to achieve a consistent flavor profile, which was also a first, seeking a signature flavor profile before he also became the first to bottle bourbon. So, and he bottled it at 90 proof. So we call this Original Batch, paying homage to how we got our start. This is a batching of barrels from 3 different warehouses. It's all Old Forester warehouses these days, but each different warehouse, up to 21 barrels. It was originally, 7 barrels from 3 different warehouses, so 21 total barrels to make this expression.
And so as we're going to talk over the next 4 days of Old Foe here, just a quick reminder that even though we're talking all kinds of original batch and bottled in bond and old fine whiskey and prohibition, with all varying proofs and names and flavor profiles, they're all from the exact same mash bill and they all have the exact same yeast strain.
Yes, and they're all batched from barrels between 4 and 6 years old. Absolutely.
So crazy that these things all have such variety to them, but are produced in the same place using the same kind of barrels. Just exciting.
It is, and that's one thing I love about it. And I love how other distilleries do it with different yeast strains and different mash bills. To each their own way. But it showcases how when you get hands-on with an expert taster and distiller, that you can make different expressions from all the same stuff.
No, absolutely. And the funny thing is, so I tried this again after I literally put 2 drops in it. If you all saw me, with the little finger drop type technique there. And it's weird how even 2 drops of water in the 90 proof at this point changes it that much more. Almost the fruit goes away and that high rye just comes in and crashes the party. And it's just so different. It's crazy that, Old Forester can give off that much of an expression difference, just by the way you water it down or the blending or the batching. And it's just, it really is a unique product overall because of those reasons.
I love it. I think it's a great pour. Our listeners, I think all across the United States can get the 1870 for the most part.
Should be able to, yes.
Probably in your liquor store, especially if it's one of the larger chain style liquor stores. I know my buddy in Houston got it, so I know you can get it in different places other than Louisville. I think it's somewhere in that $38 to $50 bottle. It's a great bottle.
You want to describe it for the listeners?
Around 45 to 50.
The bottle itself?
Yeah.
It's so the Whiskey Row series all have a white front label, Old Forester 1870. This one has a red tack strip on it, and the original batch is in red. But beautiful bottle. You would really be surprised at how many of these empties I've been stocking up at home right now, because I think I'm going to do some cool art craft project. I probably won't, but all the empties are
It's always
sitting
nice
there.
to think you're going to do something right.
That's right. And these bottles are just kind of neat. They would make a really cool post lamp or something, or one of those candles that people put out with citronella and stuff in the summer. But red tack strip, 1870 on it, 90 proof.
You should give me a couple of those empties, and maybe I can make something cool happen for you.
There you go. I will.
Yeah, you just reminded me too that I love this one. This one's kind of near and dear to my heart because it does remind me, especially how far we've come. In that, when I was running retail stores 6-7 years ago, 1870 was the first Whiskey Row series to come out, and Old Forester was still very much your grandfather's bourbon at that time. I knew the story just from being a geek, but we didn't have a home place. We didn't have ambassadors out in the field, and it was like, okay, it's a $50 bottle of Old Forester.
Why are you doing
no
that?
representation? So you want me to buy this? Okay, thank you.
All right.
And here we are.
Well, on the 4th day of Old Foe, my liquor store sold to me an 1870 original batch 90 proof that I loved. Peace out.
So if you want to reach Bourbon Barrel Talk, you can reach us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can also email us at bourbonbarreltalk@gmail.com. This is Scott, Josh, and Tyler signing off.